out in the open.
Dan?
What's up?
That's actually a really nice shirt.
I know. I got it from this really cool dude.
From this really cool oh.
Right? Oh, let me flex my back again real quick. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Alright, let's...
Okay.
I have never transported a car like this. I hope that we even use it, because what if the car is just boo-boo? And then it'll just be a boys' trip.
Exactly. We're gonna eat.
We're gonna eat. Let's go. Well, here it is. We're gonna use this as a table, but check this out. Look at this. $50. Okay? 50.
Okay.
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 So like,
Brisket is supposed to be, I'm supposed to get brisket at some point.
okay, it's probably, I'm gonna just say that I don't have any idea what's happening, and we should just start biting into it.
Okay.
All right, you guys, here it is. I ended up picking up an 03 RSX base model. Now, I appreciate the RSX, aka the Integra, a lot actually, but it wasn't really that high on the radar of vehicles that I would buy, to be very honest with you. Maybe 10th on the list. Definitely a vehicle I want to own, definitely a vehicle I've appreciated, have seen and written about and driven and experienced some really amazing builds over the years. It just wasn't that high up on the radar. Well, sometimes circumstances end up just getting to a point where you can't really say no. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you, it needs work. And let me show you what I'm talking about. Right, clearly the headlights, which are not OEM, need to be buffed and cleaned. I mean, a lot of this is dirt, but we've got scratches. We've got some gap here. Right, so clearly there's some clips broken, etc. No big deal. And like I showed you guys earlier, we got some oxidation. But I mean, I'm really not that worried about all of that. I'm really not that worried about it. And of course, no, it would be cool if it was, but no. Right, let's see if I can show you guys. Can you see the waves right there in the door? Okay, so we've got a series of crazy door dents. Little paintless dent removal. All right. A little bit of elbow grease. I'm gonna see if these things are salvageable. I've got some headlight restoration kits put aside, and let's see how they do. Let's see how they do. So I'm gonna pull this thing off right now. I'm gonna pull this thing off, and I'm going to take it for a drive. So let's see how it drives. I mean, it fires up. It's definitely got some issues as far as overheating and a couple other things, but it fires up clean. And I'm gonna drive it right now. So let's check it out. If you guys ever buy a stock height car and you have a truck, these little U-Haul dealio, the tow dolly, it's really not that bad. I mean, you don't even need a monster truck. You could have a pimp truck like this, but you don't even need a monster truck. You really just, I think we're always used to doing lowered cars and things that we just sort of think that it's not really usable.
Yo, it's super convenient. This is the way to go.
Yeah.
I would have to unlock that first. You know what? You know what's up, guys? This works. Ooh. So I mean, okay, we got some crazy rubber floor mats, which is probably good because the carpet actually seems all right. Look at this. The original plastic covering is still here. So the sills, the door sills are all right. The steering wheel is super worn in some places. I need to do some vacuuming. And I actually ended up getting a head unit with it. That's the original book right there. And you know what else I got with this? Apparently he put the A-Spec sticker. And I hope I can get it off cleanly. So let's see. All right, you guys ready? Clean. It starts up clean. No check engine lights, nothing. 164,957 miles. Let's drive it. Get these mirrors adjusted. Everything works as far as mirrors. That's good. Okay. Mirrors are good, left and right. Okay. So let's get a little comfortable. Let's do it. Signal, you guys. The idle's good. It's actually almost to a quarter warm already, which is, it's been on for about 42 seconds. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this onto the street real quick because that might be way faster. It usually takes like 5-10 minutes.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
took
yeah.
30 seconds. So I'll be right back.
Still hasn't overheated yet?
No, it's at the halfway mark. It stayed there. It did die on me. The idle likes to dip a little bit, so right now it's idling nice and smoothly. But when I decelerate and or brake very hard and the RPMs drop, it dips below 500, so it's like shaky, just about to turn off. But it didn't. One time it actually did shut off. So I was wondering, turned it, and it started up again. But right now I'm just kind of going through the heater. Let's go all the way hot and see if we get nice hot air. And then I want, of course, to test the air conditioning. I mean, he told me all of these things work, but you know, just checking. Perfect, that works nicely. I didn't test cruise control, but that's okay. So, okay. Air is actually not that hot, which is interesting. But let's actually test what matters in summer. Even though we're not in summer right now.
The AC.
The AC. So it's a good thing when you hear the idle change. You guys know how that is on a lot of cars. If you hit the AC button and the idle doesn't change, it's not a good thing, bro. For those of you that are wondering why this is exciting to me, one of my dailies, you know, we heard you like dailies, so we got a daily for your daily, which is basically what this is. The AC went out on that, spent a couple few hundred to fix that, worked for a week, didn't want to work after that, didn't want to deal with it, so I just been driving. So I haven't had AC for a long time, actually. So here we are, and the AC feels quite nice. So AC heater seemed to work. I didn't check cruise, but the mirrors work. The clutch seems a little soft. Too soft, not just OEM soft. I don't really like it, but I mean it shifts fine. Nothing's binding or anything. Still not overheating with the AC on, so I'm kind of interested to see how long it takes. But I like everything about it. Definitely needs a few new things. These are all not really on the list of importance. What's important is figuring out what's going on with the power plant, and if I want to repair that, you know, if we're gonna fix that, or just go to HMO probably and grab a replacement K20A3. So we're gonna probably in the next few days really get underneath it, diagnose, and I'll show you guys what's going on with this daily for the daily project. All right guys, I'm gonna let Dan drive this guy. Go ahead, Dan.
So, I mean,
ooh, I can smell what you've been doing. Jeez.
Yeah, no, the clutch pedal has got a lot of play before you feel any engagement. That's like the first thing you notice.
Yes, for real.
As soon as I started to drive it, as soon as I got the RPMs up, the coolant must have circulated a little bit because the heater got hot.
Well, I was driving it like a dick bag, and it did not do that, but that's all right.
It didn't die on me.
It did not die.
It
but
did not. The temperature's like
staying in the same place.
But it's still not.
It's not hot. There's
the
definitely a circulation issue.
Oh yeah, for
definitely.
Sure. There must be a massive air bubble in there, which again I'm surprised it hasn't overheated by now. But it's still not hot coming from the heater. It did get hot when I initially took off from here.
You mean you could feel the hot air
instantly
coming out of there?
So turn it all the way back.
You know, from what I'm smelling, I'm definitely smelling some interesting aromas emanating. Pop the hood, my friend. Let's check it out. I mean, the idle is good, but we've definitely got some issues. Look at these headlights. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. We've got some indications of coolant here. I mean, he did say that the radiator cracked, or he had to replace the radiator, so. That motor mount has been changed. See that?
Straight from AutoZone.
Straight from an O'Reilly's AutoZone motor mount. Okay. But I mean, the idle is nice and clean. You got an InGen intake. Carb EO. Which is always a good thing. The air conditioning works, which is lovely. So, that didn't even close. All right, so I drove it to 7,000 RPM, first, second, third, fourth. Dan drove it. I had the AC blowing, and it's been probably 10 minutes, maybe 10-15 minutes, and it's sitting in the same place. So I'm actually very fascinated about this to find out what's really going on. Obviously there's a chance that the needle doesn't match the temperature, but that's very unlikely. There's no smell of coolant. We don't hear the sound of anything leaking. There's no pungent smell, which everyone knows the scent. It's that pungent kind of smell of coolant. Although now that I think about it, we didn't think to look, as in check to see, what if he's one of the people that only puts distilled water? What if he's one of those people that only puts distilled water? Because there are some people that kind of forget that you have to put some mixture. Well, you don't actually have to. If you live in a climate where the water is either not going to boil or freeze, mostly freeze, Southern California, it's very unlikely for the water to freeze. So you sort of technically don't need coolant, but I didn't check. Now that it's obviously at running temp, I'm not going to open that, but there's no drips. There's no scent. Huh. And once again, it's not moving. I've got the AC on. So I'll keep you guys updated. All right, so we're gonna plug up to it and see if there are any issues, evap, and just a variety of randomness to see if the thing will potentially pass smog. So let's plug up to it and see. Okay.
Find the OBD2 port first. Where is it? There it is.
Do you need a light?
It's a little dark, but it's right here.
Bam!
No codes. So what we do now is we're gonna go back through the system and check the readiness monitors. That'll tell us if there are anything that isn't completed. So what that means is basically it's got all these monitors to check to see if anything. So you see how it says not completed right here?
Yep.
Evap ready.
It's not evap ready.
It's not evap ready. O2 sensor, it's not ready. Heaters ready. Anything that says not supported is basically opposite, doesn't count.
Yes. But
catalytic converter not completed.
Mm-hmm.
So that basically means if the car's been sitting for a long period of time and maybe the battery was dead,
yep.
The car hasn't been driven enough to complete those monitors. And so you need to drive it a certain amount of time, certain speeds, temperatures, things like that, in order for all of these monitors to actually complete themselves, at which point the car will say, the car will tell you that it's ready to be smogged. So we just need to drive it some more.
All right, so I got the car moved over here outside of the front gate of the shop, and I'm gonna clean it, okay? It needs to be cleaned, and I'm gonna see what the paint looks like underneath the dust and the dirt. Use some, some molding restoration, some, kind of back to black, some tire shine, and really just sort of get a feel for what it all looks like. I got some water spot remover, if that's even necessary. Letting it idle to really kind of see what happens with the temp and the coolant and the water and everything. So let's see how it cleans up. Some wheel cleaner, tire shine, glass cleaner, dash cleaner, and I'm optimistic, so let's get to it. Okay guys, so got some time, some good soap on there. I went over the car a bunch of times, so we're gonna see how the paint looks. We obviously have oxidation, we obviously have dents, but that doesn't mean that it has to stay looking like it hasn't been cleaned for a long time. So let's get a feel for what the silver does. I think it's gonna come out okay. I need to agitate the wheels a little bit, put some tire shine on there, but so far it's actually brightening up fairly well. If it was in any better shape, I would try to clay it, but we're clearly going to need a paint job at some point. Okay, so we got a nice wash going, soaked up the whole car. As you can see, the headlights are obviously pretty rough, but Dan was over here working on this headlight with some polish, and as you can see, we are getting a very, very big difference. Do you see this? Haze and fog and some clarity, like a lot of clarity, compared to this.
It's like a blind dog.
This is nice and yellow, pretty strong haze, and that's only 2 passes. So that means we'll need to do about 6 passes. Okay, so put in some elbow grease into the headlights. Now let's see what we get. Okay, so a lot of haze, a lot of yellow obviously, but this one we've definitely got some clarity. We can see into the lens. I can see the housing. It is different. It's not that different, but it's different. And it's better, so we're gonna keep going at it and see what we can get out of this side too. All right, so it's a little bit dark. We've been at it, but the silver is cleaned up pretty well, and I'm gonna take it for a drive right now. I need to hit it with some tire shine and a couple other things, but it has cleaned up respectably. It has cleaned up respectably. The wheels are silver again. So let's go for a drive and see if we're all bled. The cooling system has been idling. We got some bubbles out. Let's go for a drive. All right, so just finished the wash. Detailed it up a little bit. Dan's about to plug up to it. If you remember from earlier, we had no hard codes, but some of them were not completed. So let's check it out now. After more idling, we bled it. I just drove it hard, and let's see what happens. We didn't have any codes before. There's nothing on the dash. Retrieving trouble codes here, and no hard codes.
But we still gotta check the monitors.
So we need to check the monitors. Readiness monitors.
Yep. Okay, so we have
Fuel is ready. CCM ready.
The
cat is not ready.
The cat is not ready.
It usually takes the longest, I believe. The evap is not complete.
Evap is not completed.
O2. O2
Okay.
sensors not completed.
Not completed.
I think that's heater.
EGR.
EGR is not supported, so.
Okay.
Okay, so we got a couple that are complete. I think there's a couple more that from yesterday
Yeah, that completed.
that have completed.
Yeah.
So it's gonna take a little bit more driving.
So the cat, the O2, and the evap.
Yeah, cat. Yeah, evap, exactly. And then O2 is not ready. So
Okay.
complete. So a little more driving should take care of those.
Yeah, I think so. I'm optimistic. Because it has to. It has to, so that the car will pass smog. And that's an important part to registering a vehicle. So let's see what happens. You guys have any experience with this? Share it. All right, first fill up. Just pumped some gas into this after the wash, cleaned it up with Dan. Look at this thing in some good lighting. It's not that bad. I mean, Dan put in some work on the headlights. I was showing them to you earlier, but in this lighting, that's really not that bad. I mean, we've got some fitment issues on the bumper, of course. I'm gonna pull it off and check out some of the tabs and clips and stuff, but right now what I'm talking about is you can actually see the internals of these headlights. And that's only what, 2 passes? Maybe 2 passes? So let's look at the whole thing like in this lighting though. I hit it with the tire shine. I hit the rocker panels with some back to black. And then actually another one that Dan had. And I mean, you guys, this silver is really not that bad. It's not that good, but it's not that bad. Right? I mean, we're talking about, I hit some of these trims up here. What? Look at that. Now this one's definitely destroyed, but that's not that bad. Look at that molding. Look at this molding. So there you have it. I mean, I gotta get that front bumper fit right, put in more work on the headlights, but that's where we're at, guys. That is where we are at. So what do you guys think? I think it's not that bad. Dan said that he's all about it.
Jealous.
He said it's peanut butter and jelly. But that's where we're at. I mean, I'm serious. Like, it needs more work, but we're gonna give it a real test. I'm actually gonna give it a real test tomorrow, but Dan is gonna give it the whole day test. So let's see what happens.